right, hi Panthers. So here is our end of the week final piece of artwork. We are going to attempt to draw a fabulous piece of dessert cupcake here, as you can see, with a big old pile of frosting. And so the skills we're going to try to tap into and practice is creating colors that have value. So from dark to light. You guys can create value simply by pressing down hard on your paper with a colored pencil or soft on the paper with your colored pencil. We'll see a few areas where value is applied to your artwork. In this case, I have purple frosting, and my purple, I'm pressing down really hard as I'm coloring and then lightening my pressure as I get to the other side, creating a value scale, a dark to light purple. Same thing with my green, pushing down a little bit harder onto the paper as I color, and then working my way with less and less pressure. I even used a little bit of that same technique to create a shadow on the table where my fabulous piece of dessert is residing. Okay, so let me walk you guys through the steps. Watch, and remember, you can always pause and catch up or speed it up based on what you guys need, all right? Based on your skills or based on how fast or slow you're going. Okay, so we're going to start with a fresh piece of paper. Remember, do this in your sketchbook. If you don't have a sketchbook, that's fine too. Use a notebook, use printer paper. Does not matter to me as long as you're doing this. All right, so I'm going to turn around my computer so you guys can see what I'm doing. And so you guys are able to follow along. Okay, I would highly recommend everybody, when you go to draw this, draw it in pencil first. For the sake of you being able to see what I'm doing, I'm going to draw in Flair pen, all right? When you draw in pencil, you can trace on over it with Flair pen and then do an eraser wash, which is my favorite. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do 4 dots on my paper. The top dots are going to be a little bit wider than my bottom ones. This is going to be how I structure the base or where my cupcake wax paper might be. All right, so my top pieces here, I'm going to do zigzags to the top dots like that. I'm going to connect down to my bottom dots. And then I'm going to do a nice bowed bottom. All right, and it's okay if it doesn't look perfect, no big deal. And at the bottom of each zigzag, I'm going to bring a line to the base of my cupcake. Now this is going to be like that wax paper part of a cupcake, if you guys know what I'm talking about. I definitely went a little crazy with the zigzags. You guys don't have to do as many as I did. It's okay if they don't all fit. Just kind of get some lines going in here. Okay, good enough. Now at the top, I'm going to do my first mound of cake. So from dot to dot, that's probably going to be some cake. And then we're going to layer on our frosting. Make them a little shorter each time. And then my final one is going to be a curl. Like a little bloop, little dollop on top. Okay, and then if you want to make it fancy schmancy, of course you can put a cherry on there. I always put a little square like that so the cherry looks like it's going to be shiny. The stem, you can draw sprinkles. About halfway up the page, I'm going to make a horizon line. This line is going to be my table. Okay. So now is when we do the coloring. Coloring is the most important skill. This is where I want to see you guys show me your skills, show me what you guys have learned this week. So I decided I'm going to make my cupcake frosting. I'm going to make it, what is this, a violet blue. You guys can make it any color you want. I'm going to lightly kind of break down just general areas where I should go from dark, medium, medium light, light. Okay, so I always like to work from dark to light. And when you want it to be dark, remember, you're going to push down. Oh my gosh. I have to find another color here. I'm going to push down a little bit harder onto my paper. And try to stay within the lines. I think I'm going to make the base of my cupcake where the wax paper is a different color. Something that isn't purple. And remember, folks, you guys can always change the direction of your paper. If it's easier to color this way, totally fine. It doesn't have to be in that same direction. And just be a little bit more careful when you get to the smaller sections here, like around the zigzag. Okay, up here too. I'm going pretty fast, guys, because I know you don't want to watch this. It's like watching paint dry. Very boring, but you need to see how to do this. I'm pressing down pretty hard with my color pencils. And if you guys don't have color pencils or you want to use something else like crayons or oil pastels, the same rules apply. You're still going to press down a little bit harder. Oh yes, you might need to keep your pencil sharpener handy, as you guys saw. And then I'm going to start to lighten up the pressure. I don't want to go from dark to really light. I want it to be medium. So I'm still pressing down on that piece of paper, but not as hard. And my hand is a lot happier now. So not pressing down as hard. And then as I get creeping over to the other side, I'm going to lighten up the pressure even more. And it's okay if you overlap one section into the other. Try to keep it nice and smooth looking, so you don't really want to see that exact line where I started to change it up. I like to go and fill it in a little bit more. And then over here, I'm going to make it really light where I just kind of scratch or tickle the paper a little bit with my color pencil. Keeping it very light. I still want to color the area. I don't want to leave it white paper, but I'm not pushing down very hard at all. I'm just kind of letting the weight of the pencil scratch the paper just to give me enough purple to color the area. Oh, that looks fabulous. All right, kids. What do you think? Pretty good. Now, of course, you could put sprinkles on and just kind of color around the sprinkles. I'm just showing you guys the basics right now. I'm keeping this very basic cupcake. Down here, I don't want to use purple. I want to use something I haven't used yet. So maybe I will use, what do I have over here? I'm going to use, how about some green? Let's try green or blue. I like this blue. This is pretty. Okay. Same thing, guys. You want to make sure all your dark is on the same side so it looks more realistic. If you had it light on this side, it wouldn't make much sense because we're trying to create a bit of a shadow. Trying to make our cupcake look a little bit more 3D. And by doing that, the artwork looks a little bit more realistic. It looks a little bit more real. So these first couple of rectangles of the wax paper portion of my cupcake are getting a lot of pressure. A lot, really beautiful, deep, vivid blue. And then I'm going to slowly start to release the pressure that I'm applying to the paper. Just a little less. You're going to see a little bit more of the white underneath the paper. Right around that halfway point, maybe one more. You can always go back and add more. You can't exactly erase color pencils, so that's why it's always good to work from dark to light. And then I think I'm going to start just barely applying any pressure to my pencil, really making it very light and airy. Just like I did with the purple frosting. Okay, so we want to see this dark to light. Okay, now the table, I don't want it to be purple or blue. I want it to be something else. So I am going to create a shadow from the corner out. That's going to be the shadow on my table. And the rest of the table, I'm just going to make sure it gets colored in orange. Just a basic orange all over. You guys can make it any color you want. You don't have to choose the same colors I did, okay? I'm just showing you guys. You are the artists. You create exactly how you want this to look. The only skill I want to see you guys applying right now would be creating the dark to lights and applying that pressure to your paper. And you guys can see in the shadow where my beautiful cupcake is on the table, I am going to push down extra hard with my orange so it creates the shadow. And the rest of my table is just going to be plain old middle or medium orange. Of course, we should color that cherry, right? And last, you guys decide what you want to do for the background. I think I did stripes. You can create like wallpaper if you want to. You can just do another solid color. Here, let me color that cherry. It's going to drive me crazy. I can't just leave it hanging there uncolored. And especially work around that highlight so your cherry looks nice and shiny. Fabulous. Okay, and then my background, you know, if you want to, you can do zigzags, you can do flowers, you could do some sort of design if you want to. I'm going to do something like this. And if you guys like, I think I'm going to use markers for my background because I have them. I love markers too. So you guys can create your background any way you want. I'm going to stop it here just because this isn't a huge skill I'm looking for you guys to do. I do want you to do some background. And again, it does not have to be like mine. It can be totally different. All right, kiddos. Share with me on Seesaw what you've created. Remember, check in during our live art Zooms if you have any questions, if you just want to share with me what you've created. But big thing is we want to see a dark to light value scale on our frosting and on the base of our cupcake. And don't forget the shadow on the table.